the mic to you and let you actually take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joy, for having me. I'm super excited for the conversation. I know we've been going back and forth for a couple of months now and putting this together. So I'm so happy that it has finally is taken place. And I'm super excited to chat with all of you all about one of my very favorite topics, which is around clean beauty justice. All right. So I'm super happy to be here. I hope you're happy to be here. I'm even more glad to be able to talk around this topic today. Again, my name is Diamond Spratling. I am the proud founder and executive director of Girl Plus Environment, but more on that a little bit later. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia, but I am born and raised in Detroit. So don't get it twisted. I'm originally a Midwest girly. I've been in this work for over 12 years at this point in various different capacity, previously at the CDC, also at Bloomberg, but now get to do Girl Plus Environment work every single day, which is my favorite. My work has been at the intersection of environmental justice, health equity, racial justice, nonprofit management, and one of my absolute favorites, community and culture, because you can't really have any of those without bringing people together. In the spirit of being more intentional about my personal hobbies just as much as my professional ones, I'm also very interested in travel, all things travel, cooking, dining, spending time outdoors, and I'm a music lover as well. So if you've got a favorite song you think that I should listen to, feel free to go ahead and throw that in the chat. So that's me. But like I mentioned, I'm the executive director of Girl Plus Environments. We are a national 501c3 nonprofit that's been around for 7.5 years now. We have a member base of almost over 900 members now across 41 different states in the US of incredible Black and Brown girls and women who essentially want to take action around environmental justice within their communities. So we educate, engage, and empower young Black and Brown women and femmes to shift the narrative of what it means, what it looks like to be an environmentalist, so that more of us know this is a space that we should be leading, taking part in, and there's plenty of room for us in this work. So our work kind of falls into three different spaces. So the first one is around digital campaigns because, hey, that's where our members are based. They're all over social media these days, and we love that for them. And so using that as an avenue to get more people to care about a movement that we've been told for so long that we don't care about or we don't belong in. But I'm a testament to the fact that we do belong in this space. And I do care about my environment because I care about my health. In addition to our digital campaigns, we do a ton of community building. So that's centered all around our work with our member base. And so moving them up this ladder of engagement so that you're not just aware of clean beauty justice, but you feel comfortable and confident to take action on it within your own communities. And then the last part of our work is around our advocacy training program, which is probably one of my favorites. It is our flagship program where essentially we train people on how to take different leadership and advocacy actions within their communities. We provide them with funding, tools, resources, technical assistance, all the above, so that they feel supported. So that's our organization. But what I'm going to be talking all about today is kind of four core things around clean beauty justice. So the first one is just understanding what is clean beauty justice? What is this term? What are we using it for? Why are we here? Then talking about informed purchasing. What does it look like to make intentional decisions? Why do I have to make those decisions? And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the disproportionate impacts. And then towards the end, we'll get to probably one of the most important parts of this conversation, which is around practical actions, because I'm very adamant on we can't just sit around and talk about the issue and the problem at hand. Most importantly, we have to talk about the actions and how do we go about supporting ourselves in our communities. So definitely stay to the end for that. And then I also have a small little surprise at the end as well. So make sure that you stay to the top of the hour so that you can be a part of it. All right, I think that's it. And then, of course, if you all have any questions as I'm going through the presentation, feel free to jot them down, write them in the chat, and we'll have plenty of time for some Q&A at the end. All right, well, why clean beauty justice? Why do we have to have an entire webinar or conversation around clean beauty justice? Well, because every time I'm scrolling on social media, the news, whatever the case may be, I'm seeing different articles like the one I have on this screen. Dangerous chemicals were detected in 100% of braiding hair that we tested. I wear braiding hair. There may be some folks on this call. Raise your hand if you wear braiding hair. I'm getting my hair braided in about 2 weeks before vacation. And so this was something that was triggering for me. Yes, I see some hands raised here in the chat. And so unfortunately, this article is not isolated at all. I'm pretty sure I could have just searched dangerous chemicals in beauty products and Black women and saw a plethora of different articles pop up. That's an issue. That's a significant issue, especially when it comes to our health and our well-being. And so that's exactly why we're here, because we're going to talk about it. We're going to learn more. And most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about how do we take action. Cool. Okay. So before we jump into the nitty gritty of the terms and all of those things, I'm going to do a really quick little activity, just essentially around what is in your bag. So I don't know where you're at. If you're at home, feel free to grab your favorite personal hair care. If it's some hair conditioner that you swear by, leave-in conditioner, whatever it is, your favorite makeup, whatever the case may be, take 60 seconds, grab your item. If you're en route or at work, you don't have to go grab anything, but just think in the back of your mind or write it in the chat as well. If you're like, oh, I swear by this hair conditioner, this is the one that I use, I want to see or hear what it is. So I have kind of two products that I have pulled here. My first one is my Shea Moisture. I've been using Shea Moisture for a long time. It's a daily hydration shampoo here because my dermatologist told me I need to hydrate my scalp a little bit more. And then this Living Proof Perfect Hair Day shampoo, which is also for hydration. And I have not used this one yet, but this was actually gifted to us for an event. So I'm excited to use it. And I want you to grab it and I want you to take a look at the ingredients. Which ones are you familiar with? Are you like, okay, I know exactly what this is? Or which ones on there where you're like, I don't even know how to pronounce this word? And so feel free to just take a look. If anyone wants to come off mute and you have a hair product that you'd like to share, feel free to do that as well. But I'm just going to talk about this Shea Moisture one. And so if I go to the ingredients, the first one here is water. Great. I know what water is, so I don't have to I don't have to be afraid about this one. It has shea butter in here, seed oil, citric acid, potassium, sorbate, some fragrance in here. It's a long list of things. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what all of these words mean. I don't know what a lot of these things mean, especially the longer words. And I actually talking to a doctor a few years ago, she said, if you can't pronounce it, then it might be a sign that you do not need to put it in your hair. But it's good to, I want to do this exercise all the time at the start of this type of webinar because it's kind of a reality check, right? Because we want to know what we're putting in our systems. Like if you were marinating some chicken, you're looking at all the different things, the seasonings and stuff that you're putting in it, right? And so therefore, when it comes to our beauty products, all those things, we should also know what's in there as well. So a quick little hack, because for me, I'm not a scientist. I'm in the public health field. I'm an environmentalist, but I am not a chemist. And so I am not going to know what every single ingredient is on these products. But there is an app that I literally swear by. It's called Yuka. Has anyone heard of the Yuka app before? Some folks, okay, yes, I see some hands. I love it. And so I have been using this app for a few years. Plot twist, it is free, so you do not have to pay, although they do have a paid version on here. And I'm not gonna lie, I have transitioned to the paid version because I'm like, all right, I do like this. Granted, it is only $5 a year, so that's why I was like, okay, I can make this investment. But the Yuka app essentially allows you to be able to take a picture, search the product, see what's in it, and basically it will rate the product from like, if it's an A+, this is good, or where it's like, okay, this is an F, you don't need to be using this. But what it also does is it tells you what the ingredients are that's in the product, and it tells you why it potentially is harmful for you. So it's not just telling you yes or no, or this is good or bad. It's giving the reasoning and the different ingredients that kind of make up that product to help you make more informed decisions in the future. So definitely recommend utilizing this app. So feel free to scan that QR code if you are interested. Okay, I want to do a quick poll before we get into all the details and all of the that type of stuff. So the first one here, and you can answer it right here in the chat. The first is, what factors influence your beauty purchases the most? Is it A, cost of like, all right, this is a little too pricey, I'm not gonna buy this? Is it B, the reviews? Is it the brand loyalty where you're like, okay, I don't care what it is. If it's produced by Fenty, I will be purchasing. Is it the ingredients? Is it the smell or the appearance of things? Are you an aesthetic person? So feel free to write A, B, C, D, or E right in the chat. I'd love to hear from folks. Perfect. Okay, I see some D's in here. D, okay, yes, we are informed here. I love it. B, yes, I've got to look at the reviews too, especially when it's closed, honestly. Yes, all of the above. Love it. Brand loyalty for me. Definitely understand that. B and D. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing a lot of B and D's here. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and some ease here as well. The appearance. Yeah, I'm definitely an aesthetic person. I'm guilty of that. So I'm like, what does the branding look like? B's in here. Awesome. Okay, that's super interesting to know. And there's no right and wrong answer essentially. Like I think honestly there's a combination of all of the above, right? In a sense. Like sometimes cost, we have to depend on cost a little bit, especially in today's current climate where everything is expensive. But we also want to see the reviews and what and how it has worked for someone else's hair type that may be similar to mine. So it definitely depends. So thank you for indulging in that little poll. And so the second question I have here, kind of a bonus question, I think we have enough time to do that, which is, how familiar are you with the term clean beauty justice? One, not familiar at all. Two, somewhat, where it's like, okay, I've heard this term before. Or three, you can get up here and you can teach because you feel very familiar with the term clean beauty justice. Feel free to write one, two, or three in the chat. And again, there's no shame in this at all. Got Barella on the call, a three. Yes, great to see you. Got some onesie here, some twos, Isa two, some twos, Jasmine two, one. Period. Okay, awesome. I love this. We have a wide range of just like expertise. And guess what? That is great because I love being in spaces like this because it means we can all learn from each other. So, for someone who said three very familiar, do you feel comfortable coming off mute saying how you would define clean beauty justice? I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, but feel free to to come off mute. How many hands raised? Or you can write it in the chat if you feel more comfortable. Okay. That's fine. We're going to go through it together. So we'll all be on the same page regardless. But feel free to throw in the chat if you do have some thoughts around clean beauty justice. Okay. So what is clean beauty justice? Essentially, what I like to do when I'm talking about the term is kind of breaking everything up. So, first, the clean beauty side of things, essentially, when we're talking about the product specifically. So, making sure that the products were created without ingredients that have been suspected to essentially harm our bodies, harm our human health. A lot of that can consist of hormone disruptors, carcinogens, irritants, all of those things that especially impact us, right? So when we're talking about clean beauty, that means we don't want anything that's in there that could be potentially harmful to us. But the other side of that term is beauty justice. And so when I'm talking about beauty justice, I'm talking about the ability for us to have access to different products, personal products, beauty products, regardless of where we live, regardless of our income, our race, all of those things, and just understanding that everyone deserves access to products that do not harm us and protect us from toxic ingredients. So that's what I think about when it comes to clean beauty justice. And if there are other ideas and folks that people have, feel free to throw that in the chat. A few other terms that you might hear throughout this presentation. Environmental justice, one of my favorites. And contrary to what many people may think, I'm not talking about hugging trees. I'm not talking about being outdoors, although I am an outdoor girly myself. I am talking about their access to safe environments. So even thinking about if our kids can safely play at the park that's next door to our neighborhood, or if we have access to healthy foods. Those things are environmental justice. Health equity, equal health outcomes for everyone. Consumer production or consumer protection, making sure that we have safe products for everyone, all of our consumers. And then the final one, which is kind of, I feel like a buzzword lately, is corporate accountability, which essentially says that brands must be transparent. And, from what I've seen from my work, I've seen that brands have been a little bit better about this, which I have appreciated. And I think a lot of that is contributed to us putting pressure on brands and being more intentional about what we will and will not allow. So that's your kind of little dictionary for today. All right, so chemicals in beauty. So just a few slides ago, I had us go in and pick up your beauty products and look at your ingredients. And the fact of the matter is, many chemicals exist in beauty, but we have to understand that every chemical was not created equally. And just because there is a chemical doesn't mean that it is a bad chemical, right? I think we hear the word chemical and we're like, no, this is bad. But the three that I'm highlighting here, I will say that these are the ones that you do want to look out for and usually are triggers for having health implications. So formaldehyde, phthalates, and parabens. So take a look at your product again and see if you have any of those products or any of those ingredients and understand that those could potentially put you at different health risks, which I'm going to talk about in this next slide. So few years ago, we actually worked with Mama Toto, which is an incredible reproductive maternal health organization based in DC, actually. And we put out a bunch of different content talking about the connection between clean beauty and different health issues. And specifically, we were doing work around EDCs, which stands for endocrine disrupting chemicals. And so these chemicals, it's a very long word. So we just say, know your EDCs like ABCs. That kind of helps you to remember. But what they do is they mimic, they can block and also interfere with your hormones in your body, especially your endocrine system. That's why they are called endocrine disrupting chemicals. And unfortunately, they are known to have a ton of different health outcomes as well. So we see here phthalates is included here, like I mentioned. So that can be related to liver issues, kidney, lungs, your reproductive system, which is something that we know is already a significant issue in many Black women's bodies. PFAS, those are something that I feel like a little bit more people are more familiar with. Heart risks around that, liver changes. Thinking about parabens, that's another one that's really, really common that can disrupt your hormones, again, your fertility, affecting birth outcomes, increased risk of cancer. And so being able to understand and recognize these terms and say, oh, this product has this in it, I'm going to stay away from this one. That is something that you want to just begin to start thinking about as you're purchasing your next product when your hair care starts to run out this next time around. Okay, so this is a little bit of a busy slide, but talking a little bit more about some of the health concerns. So again, my background is in public health, and so I try to be very intentional about how do we really capture health issues before we even get to that point. And so as much precautionary and prevention methods that we can do. But one of the things that are really in a lot of the products that are marketed to us, they cause different things such as hormone disruption, reproductive and maternal health issues, even things such as asthma and skin irritation. I know for me, I actually learned that I have a skin disorder that was misdiagnosed a few years ago after tons of trials and tribulations, unfortunately, being a Black woman dealing with the health and medical system. But a lot of that was triggered by different products that I was using. Cancer concerns also being linked to different toxic ingredients that we've seen. But one of the things that the the WHO actually came out with is that many humans are actually, even if we know it or not, we are exposed to endocrine disrupting chemicals on a daily basis. And it's not even just through beauty products. A lot of it can be through personal products as well as anything else that we put in and on our bodies, such as plastics, microplastics, and household cleaners as well. The other thing that I thought was super significant was the fact that 8 in 10 products studied contained parabens, phthalates, which are, like we learned in the last slide, endocrine disrupting chemicals. So I say all that to say, now more than ever, be intentional about the things that we're putting in and on our body. But I do want to emphasize that this is not solely on us. And so we will definitely get to the policy and the political side of things as well. I'm so talking about the disproportionate impact. So unfortunately, clean beauty and justice is not equal. And essentially, what I mean by that is that we're seeing a lot of Black women who are disproportionately impacted and exposed to different chemicals. So, the first one talking about the fact that many products that impact our health are disproportionately being distributed and marketed to us. When I'm going to my beauty supply store, which I don't know, do you guys say beauty supply store or hair store? I'm from Detroit, so we say beauty supply store. And so a lot of the products, when I go to my beauty supply store up the street, they do not have a great array of different products that are non toxic. And so understanding that. Different products continue to be distributed to us, but also just understanding that we have lived in, unfortunately, a very Eurocentric beauty world and standards where sometimes we feel like we have to put chemicals in our hair to straighten our hair, to manipulate it so that it can look like our white counterparts, when in fact we don't need to do that at all. And so just understanding that there are tons of different disproportionate impacts, especially when it comes to exposure to different chemicals such as endocrine disruptors. All right, y'all rocking with me? Y'all good? Thumbs up. We still here? Okay, perfect. I see some thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about additional factors too. So, yes, I talked a whole lot about the products as well, but understanding that hair relaxers, which I know there's been tons and tons of controversy. I'm a hair relaxer, baby. I don't fault my mother for that at all, but it has officially grown out of my hair. Thank you. But you know, understanding that chemical exposure is one thing, but also there needs to be more conversation around occupational exposures too. Our hairdressers and our salon professionals that we love so much have to be around these products every single day. Their hands get exposed to it as well. They're getting exposed externally, but even thinking all the way down to the fact that a lot of the air that is circulating within the hair salons, there's tons of toxins. And of course, we're talking a little bit about hair and beauty today, but nail salons are also another just environment where a lot of toxic chemicals are involved. And so when you can, if you can, definitely do wear a mask when you are in a nail salon, because there are a lot of toxins, especially if you're bringing your youngins with you who are 5 and under. It's a great opportunity for you to just make sure that they are secure and being protected. And then the last thing that I mentioned, I think I kind of touched on in the last slide, is thinking about the limited access to safer product alternatives. There are 1,000,001 products out there. And I know for us alone, it's hard to find the right product. I'm still trying to find the right gel for my hair and the right edge control. So if you have recommendations, throw them in the chat. But the thing is understanding that, you know, it's difficult in the first place. And so now it's like, oh, we've got to layer on this health aspect too. What isn't hurting us? What isn't impacting our health? But the fact of the matter is your health is so important, and especially important to invest in. Okay, so what we can do, chemical awareness, my favorite thing. So making sure that we are reading labels, just like I mentioned before, when we're seasoning our chicken or whatever the case may be, we look to decide, okay, are we going to put this in here? Are we going to put that in here? Read your labels and be able to understand what is in the products. And of course, this goal is not just for beauty and not for personal products, but for even food as well. Anything that we are putting in our bodies or on our bodies definitely is means for doing a little bit extra research, because again, your health and your life is absolutely worth it. So, looking for different keywords such as fragrance free, paraben free, phthalate free, those are easy things that you can be able to see and say, okay, I think I can use this, or I feel more comfortable utilizing this product. Another easy way is simplifying your routine. So I know for me, I used to think that I needed every single product to manipulate my hair to whatever curl, whatever I was trying to do. But I've learned over time that less is more, and understanding that that's also a good way to cut back on fun so you're not using as much products, but also reducing just unnecessary chemicals that we need to put in and on our body. And just, yeah, embracing that, I guess, kind of minimalist practice of like simple is more. I know my mom used to always say, like, you don't need anything else but soap and water to wash your face, you know? But then once I start putting everything else on there, then it's when it starts going crazy. But understanding the importance of chemical awareness essentially is the point of this slide, and utilizing tools such as the Yuka app. And then there's also another app called Think Dirty. So both of those are really great apps to utilize in case you're like, I don't have time to read through these ingredients. You can just simply scan the barcode and it will help you out as well. Okay, so I want to shift gears a little bit and talk a bit about the work that Girl Plus Environment has done around clean beauty justice. So, a few years ago, we partnered with the US Department of Health and Human Services to launch our Main Issue campaign, or TMI for short. Main is spelled like that because our hair mane. But essentially, this three kind of part initiative was created with a ton of intentionality. So, first thing is understanding that beauty is a part of our culture and really any reflection of our identity, and it has been for so many years. And just knowing like that impact has really, I think, impacted the way that we see our health and see our hair, and how we're able to just build that relationship with it. Even thinking about hair identity, we as Black women, we feel very deeply personally attached to our hair. I know for me, even if I have to go get a trim, I'm like crying on the inside because I feel like a piece of me is just leaving my body or leaving my system. But there's a lot of personal connection to our hair, but also political connections as well, politically significant, that we've been told in different work environments that we can't wear our hair a certain way, or this is unprofessional, which we all know is untrue. But those different things have connections as well. And so essentially, what Girl Plus Environment saw was that salons are community spaces. They are safe spaces for us. And we were able to utilize that as a way to bring Black women culture into learning about endocrine disrupting chemicals, and leaning on the trust, the community, and the connection that we usually have been able to build within hair spaces. And this picture that we see here on the slide says, I like my products like I like my men, toxic free. This was actually a billboard that we had in downtown Atlanta about a year ago, actually, which was really cool as a way to educate people in a very kind of fun, attention grabbing way to learn about endocrine disrupting chemicals in their hair products. And that, believe that QR code went to our webpage where people can get access to our toolkit to learn a little bit more. So what we did in this campaign essentially was a few different things. So the first thing is we're really intentional about research anything before we start doing it. So we distributed out a survey, and we went on a listening tour with different Black women hairdressers to better understand what different products do you use, how do you determine what products you're going to use, how comfortable do you feel talking to your client about endocrine disrupting chemicals and how it might impact their health. And so that told us a whole lot of information, in which we were able to turn that into a digital campaign that targeted both hairdressers, but also Black women in general, to better understand what endocrine disrupting chemicals were, how it's impacting their health and their well-being, but most importantly, what can they do about it, even if they do have limited access to resources. And so we ended up reaching over 40,000 people with that campaign, which was really cool. It was an awareness campaign. And so we were able to leave that project and know that even more people were aware about different chemicals that are in our products, but most importantly, what to do about it. The last thing we did in this project or campaign was we hosted a bunch of different pop-ups all across Atlanta. Some of them were at Black-owned beauty salons, some at Black-owned beauty supply stores, and then we also partnered with the Black Hair Experience to be able to spread more awareness about endocrine disrupting chemicals. And then we also gave away a ton of freebies and just information about all toxic free. So it was a whole lot of fun working with different brands and different organizations to really bring this to life. And this slide, though very, very busy, is just kind of captures some of the content that came out of our campaigns, from our pop-ups, from our our mini campaign within that one that talked about the connection between toxic chemicals and maternal health, talking about how do you unmask the relationship between environmental justice and endocrine disruptors, different things that you can do. Honestly, I'm sure from the slide, you can tell we had a whole lot of fun with this. And I think that's really the goal, is that making sure that people don't feel like this is, oh, this is an extra thing I got to worry about, I've got to do, but making sure that it is really community driven and also culturally driven. So we got to partner with brands such as Rebundle, which is actually a toxic free hair braiding hair brand. So that was a whole lot of fun as well. Okay, getting to the policy side of things and doing a quick time check as well. We are good. So, understanding TSCA and policy. Has anyone heard of TSCA? Feel free to hand raise, a nod. Okay, I don't think folks have. Perfect. Okay, well, you're going to leave this space knowing exactly what TSCA is. So essentially, it stands for the Toxic Substances Control Act. And so this was a federal law that essentially granted the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, the authority to basically regulate chemical substances that consumers use. And that could essentially include beauty products, personal care products, cleaning products as well. All those toxins. But the thing about TSCA was it's essentially created to protect our public health and protect our environment. And so with TSCA being in place, it's supposed to ensure that there is regulation, evaluation, and management of the risks posed by all of these different chemicals, some of which the ones that we talked about earlier today. But the thing is, there are many gaps that have existed still, especially because a lot of the ingredients still remain unregulated, which poses a significant problem, because what's the point of having TSCA if these ingredients are still being unregulated? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So TSCA, it has a few limitations. The first one is that it has a very, very slow review process, which is not fun at all, right? We want these ingredients to be evaluated as soon as possible, and we want change today. Our health is that important. We also know that TSCA has limitations because there are grandfathered chemicals. That essentially means that the chemicals that were in place before TSCA, they actually can do business as is. They don't have to assimilate to modern policies around TSCA, which is not fair at all, because if your product is still on the shelves, you definitely, absolutely should adhere to the TSCA policies. And so that is an issue. And then another one is just the weak enforcement. So that, just like I mentioned on the past slide, it leaves many of the ingredients unregulated and unevaluated, which is not good. But I will say there has been a recent win back in 2020 or 2016, actually. And this was the Lautenberg Act, which essentially worked to strengthen and improve TSCA. So improving basically the chemical reviews that were done, and also the safety standards, so that they were more strict than they have been in the past. So I will say that was definitely a win on our end. We were very excited to see that. But again, there are still tons of improvements that continue to need to take place. So, some of the work that you all can do around advocacy, the first is supporting stronger chemical regulations and being a part of public comment periods. I know it feels very scary to go and talk to your representatives and tell them about the issues that you have. But the thing is, if we don't stick up, they will not know that these are issues that we care about. So being intentional about talking to the people that you vote in to policy to be able to talk to them about the regulation standards that need to be put into place, joining organizations that are doing this work already. So Girl Plus Environment is one of them, but I also want to highlight an incredible partner organization, Weaving Voices for Health and Justice. And they do a ton, even more work than we do around clean beauty justice. And so getting connected with a lot of the campaigns and the work that they've been doing, voting for leaders who actually do prioritize environmental health and justice, such as clean beauty justice. So when people are running, ask them those questions. Ask, what are you doing around clean beauty justice? How are you ensuring that I'm not going to continue to get marketed products that are going to essentially harm me and my body? So those are some actions that you can definitely take. But being even more specific, I want to make sure that everyone gets your phones out if you don't already have them and scan these 3 codes. So the first one is a link that links to the TISCO organizing toolkit for advocates. So you all hopefully are now clean beauty advocates. That's why you're here. And I want you to scan that code, but also I want you to take a step further and send it to 3 people in your community. Send it to your group chat, send it to your tennis club that you go to on Thursdays, whatever the case may be, and make sure that they have access to those resources so that they know how to advocate for clean beauty justice. The next is I want you all to consider joining the Alliance for Health and Safe Chemicals. So this is essentially a work group for organizations. So if you are a part of an organization that does care about health, well-being, the environment, Black and Brown youth, Black women, whatever the case may be, please get them to be a part of this alliance. I actually recently joined as a part of Girl Plus Environment to make sure that we can come together and connect to continue to do this work. And then the last is signing on to this letter. So this is the TISCA markup. So this is a petition that you can essentially sign on to send a letter out to emphasize the importance of strengthening TISCA. So please, please, please take a moment and scan these 3 QR codes. I know I've been sharing 1,000,001 QR codes, but I'll try to make sure that we can circulate the slide deck after the call as well. Okay. All right. So, why does policy matter? Well, the thing is, we shouldn't have to go through and research different ingredients. Just like I said, it shouldn't be the responsibility of the consumer. Yes, absolutely, we do hold some responsibility, but the fact of the matter is, we are disproportionately exposed to and disproportionately marketed products that are known to harm our health and well-being, and that is unfair and unacceptable. And so that is exactly why policy matters, because those who are in leadership roles, those who are corporations and a part of manufacturing processes are the ones who should absolutely be more intentional about not marketing products to us that harm us and not even having them on the shelf in the first place. So that is why policy matters, in addition to individual acts that we can take on our own as consumers. Okay, but what can you do at home? So these are quick little things. And, I just want to put out there that I know it can feel very overwhelming when it comes to our products. Like, I am in no way telling people to toss all your products and get new ones. I would never tell you to do that. I'm an environmentalist, so please don't toss out anything. But what I will say is, as you continue to make transitions and to be intentional about it, make sure that you are reading labels and the ingredient list. Make sure that you are swapping things out as you go. So when you're getting to the bottom of your conditioner, maybe consider using a different one. Utilizing apps that I mentioned before, such as Yuka, Think Dirty, EWG, Skin Deep, and don't panic. Just like I said, you don't have to do everything at once. Just like we started this call, we're all that we've got. And so I think just even being in this space, it shows that you care about your health and well-being, but it's even more important to make sure that you are spreading what you've learned today to other people in your community who you also care about. Speaking of community, things that you can do. So, like I mentioned, sharing out this information, even if you tell three people, even if you just text your group chat and say, hey, I've learned so much in this webinar within 1 hour alone, and there's so much that we can do. Let's try to do it together. Let's make it a challenge. Support businesses, support especially businesses who are doing safe ingredients. I know Barella, I don't know if she's still on this call, but I know she does a lot of incredible work around clean beauty justice, supporting different hairdressers or hairstylists and beginning to have that conversation with your hairdresser. And I think that's really where a lot of this work comes into, is just normalizing those conversations so that once we have those conversations, people can feel even more compelled to take action within their communities. And then the last is ask brands questions, ask those questions that you have for them, send them letters, talk to them about your concerns that you have, especially if you're like, I really love this brand, but I really think that they can do better. Essentially, there wouldn't be any brands if it wasn't for us consumers. And so being able to utilize your voice is so critical. And then I just want to leave you with a few resources of where you can learn more. Of course, going to the Girl Plus Environment website, which is right on the right here, girlplusenvironment.org. There's the EWG Skin Deep site, which is really helpful. The Main Issue campaign is also on our website, and then utilizing apps such as Think Dirty. All right. Well, I'd love to stay connected with folks. I really, really hope that this has been a incredible webinar and just learning opportunity for us. Even if you feel like, oh, I've known a lot of this information before, I feel like it's so incredible to just be able to get reacclimated to it or to be able to learn about the things that you can do as well. So feel free to join the Girl Plus Environment membership. Our membership is completely free. Again, we have members all over the country. You get access to webinars and trainings like this. We have an influencer program, member spotlights, funding opportunities, volunteer. We have a job and resource hub, and so much more. So feel free to scan that QR code so that you can get signed up to become a member. And I think with that, oh, I'm full of QR codes today. The last one is just our toolkit for the Main Issue. And this is actually for hairdressers, especially if they want access to different tools and resources that they can use to be able to share out to better understand, how do I communicate with my clients about toxic chemicals and how to make changes without making them feel overwhelmed. And the last thing is that I'm sharing a little gift card to you all. So feel free to take a scan at that. That is for Rebundle, which is the toxic free hair braiding brand. And if you use code GPE20 at checkout, you will have access to get 20% off on us. So we hope that this will be the kickstart of your toxic free clean beauty justice journey. And with that, thank you so, so much for having me. I have truly enjoyed talking with you all. I hope that everyone else has enjoyed this webinar as well. Feel free to stay connected. Hopefully, we will see you at part 2 tomorrow. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But other than that, I will pass it back over to Joy. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you so much. I'm over here scanning all types of products in my house with the Yuka app. So I appreciate it. Do we have any questions? You feel free to come off of mute if you have questions, but I also want to make sure that you all know part 2. We're not done yet because there's a lot of things that we have. So tomorrow is Hot Girl Summer.
Yes.
And we'll be chatting some more about environmental and justice, climate justice, and all of that with Diamond. So please join us tomorrow, same time, same place, and we'll continue this conversation. Thank you so much for the resources and just bringing some things to the front of the room, right? Whether that's a product that you use or a product that you think you need to use, and you'd be like, oh, that rated very poor. Maybe I shouldn't use that. And then I saw some chats saying, giving us some products that they use. So thank you for sharing. As I said, we all we got, but we all we need. So this space is like any other for Southern Black Girls. It's a container space for us to talk and learn and grow together. We have about 5 more minutes. And if you don't have any questions, I have to use this as a public service announcement. Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium is outside this summer. We are on our Joy and Justice tour. We just finished Florida last weekend, and we are going to be in Louisville, Kentucky next month on August the 8th. But please join our website at southernblackgirls.org and go to the Joy Tour to find out more information about where we're going to be and pull up on us. We would love to see you. As I tell people all the time, once we know you, we go together. So we go together real bad. Um, Glad you had fun at Eatonville. And we look forward to being in community with you. Come back tomorrow and hear more about Hot Girl Summer because it is hot. And we went in Florida and it was really hot. So if there are no questions, we know that you all are very busy, and I will allow you all to take that time for, 5 minutes before your next bathroom, before your bathroom break, for your meeting, or go get the